welcome to the steering committee of the Pathology Innovation Collaborative Community. It's a wonderful Wednesday afternoon, and I'm very happy to see all of you. Ulla, I shared co-host abilities with you, and I am super excited to see a lot of the faces, a lot of the names popping up on screen here. And I am very excited because I think this is the first time that even with a small font, we have more than one page of news and updates and, all kinds of things. So it's a super packed agenda. And I know Jitesh has emailed me that he won't be able to make it, but we have the Vice President of MDIC, Dr. John Hunt, on the call. Super amazing to have you, John. And I know that one of the first items is, as many of you know, the key organization that supports PIcc is MDIC, and there is an upcoming annual public forum, and there are 2 sessions that are being hosted. John, do you want me to go through the sessions, or I don't know how you...
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I think Jitesh updated you and I. He's busy doing some prep work for the annual public forum, so I had to miss this meeting today, so asked me to step in, so that'd be great.
Perfect. So I think the first thing, and all the links and all the meeting, including the recording, will be on the website as always, but I wanted to point out that there are 2 sessions happening. One is just an introduction to collaborative communities. Please take a look at the link in the chat. It's chaired, I think, by Jeff Shurn. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of people here that names should sound familiar to several of you. And it is basically emphasizing the importance of collaborative communities and putting those people in the driver's seat to navigate healthcare challenges, which I think is a very interesting and unexpected title, but it's capturing what I think the MDIC really wants here. The second part is a session that's specifically targeting artificial intelligence, and it's entitled AI-Powered Cancer Diagnostics and How to Regulate Science, how regulatory science can reshape digital diagnostics. Super happy to be asked to moderate the session, but even more so to give you sort of the speaker panel quickly. So we were able to get Brandon Gallis's big boss, so the director of OSIL at Magirison, as the FDA representative who will talk about how they envision sort of science or regulatory science can power this. Second speaker will be Matthew Hanna. I don't know if Matt's on the call. He will talk about AI-powered cancer diagnostics. Then Marcus Herman about interoperability challenges. Then Laura Lassiter, the patient advocacy perspective, and Esther Abels about the payer work group and some updates about how to do this. So this will be basically the full 360 as a quick sort of overview to outline this in the annual public forum to all the members of MDIC. Maybe I hold there if there are questions about this or sort of the scope. There are things that we missed in terms of planning this. So one element there is then that there are some other MDIC updates. John, do you want to make a comment here maybe about the annual public forum for those who are not too familiar with this event, etc.?
Sure. For those of you that have not attended, it's really the big, typically in-person meeting that MDIC hosts each year that's open to our members, obviously, and anyone in the public that wants to attend. And typically we highlight high-profile initiatives that we're actively working on with the FDA. And obviously the Pathology Innovation Collaborative Community is very important to the FDA. It's Ed Margerison is the executive at FDA that's the supporter of PIcc, and Brandon is the FDA liaison that's attached to the PIcc. So It's got very high level support within FDA, and this is a great opportunity to showcase this to the community at large that attends the meeting. And so obviously last year we did a virtual annual public forum, but over a longer time period. We actually ran it over several months because originally it was intended to be an in-person meeting. But this year, a lot of these sessions are pre-recorded and can be viewed on demand. So as long as you have the link, you can really look at it when your time permits rather than being locked into a meeting time. So that's why Jitesh is so busy coordinating some of these things. So, the other thing too, for this group to be aware, obviously with PICC, it's a transformation from, the microscope to the digital age. We are in the process now, again, with FDA's support of standing up a digital health initiative within MDIC. So I can see there'll be a lot of crosstalk as that initiative gets stood up, because we're starting to include big tech companies as members of MDIC, which prior to this year, that wasn't even thought about. So we've already got Apple on board. We have Google/Fitbit participating in one of the sessions during the annual public forum. So it's starting to get some legs under it. So exciting times.
I mean, on behalf of all of us, and I hope that everyone agrees, like being featured that prominently is really great. And I think, MDIC's vision is obviously much larger, but, with the whole digital revolution of, Fitbits as an example, and, watches and, all kind of personal health information streaming all into one centralized location and being used in so many ways. This is absolutely visionary and fantastic to have MDIC lead this. So thanks a lot. Ulla, do you want to go to the next slide? So briefly, just to give you an idea, so the next item here is there is a new experts initiative coming from the FDA, which is called a network of digital health experts. There is a network of experts community already, but this has been such a overwhelming, interest that the FDA started this. And the overview of this, I think, again, there's a link coming to you. There's a ton of interest in terms of, how to actually harness the power of all the diverse disciplines touching this. So I know if you check MDIC's collaborative communities, you will identify, for example, another big group that Jitesh is working on is dealing with cybersecurity. There's a whole group on real world evidence, and these sectors within digital health are all now being tackled in this network of digital health experts. So long story short, if you are in a company or if you're an individual that considers one specific area your own with some sort of domain expertise, there is an option to just submit your CV, submit an email. It's in the link that Ulla kindly pasted here. Just submit that in case you consider yourself, an expert, or if you're just interested in contributing to solving some of these digital health problems. I see Brandon just made a comment. Brandon, you want to maybe explain that briefly?
Yes, so if you go to the link I added, it is actually the list of current network of experts participants that are already part of the kind of other network, I guess. Don't see the connection to digital health in this one.
Correct.
But this was also the place where maybe I put up the wrong link, but I also think that they kind of overlap a lot in terms of organizations. And if your organization appears here, I think you already qualify to be on the digital health side. And if your organization is in either one of these recognized groups, there might be questions sent to them. The whole point of this network is for the FDA to be able to send questions to get answers about how to, what should we be asking? What should we be collecting? What should we be focusing on? What are the problem areas? What are the best methods? What's just not ready for prime time? What is, and these questions are flying around every day, right? And
Yes.
I want some of these people in this group here to be a part of that, because otherwise, the voice of the people here will not be heard.
So there are certain requirements. Yes, CAP is not on the list. Just came from meeting with ADASP. ASCP is on the list. AMP is on the list. So if you're a member of ASCP, American Society for Clinical Pathology, or Association for Molecular Pathology, that would work. There are a ton of other societies. If you, for example, check radiology, dermatology, internal medicine, etc. Oh, thanks, Alex. There are certain requirements for organizations. I think the distinction of the NODEX part is that if you're affiliated with an association that's part of it, you can individually contribute. So what I think this is, and I just want to emphasize, this is not just a false promise. The FDA is truly actively reaching out to many individuals to really solicit in all kinds of ways, similar to what we're representing, a collaborative community, to really get, a lot of input. Thanks, Joe.
And if you can,
Yep.
if you know somebody, and let me know the right experts in the space of AI for digital pathology, I will make sure it gets to the people that are asking the questions about digital pathology and AI.
I thank you. This is amazing. I think I have proposed this via Esther and some other people to DPA. I know Joe Sirentrappen has just posted API should join. This is the chance, right? I think any society that will be affected should participate. And we just wanted to emphasize this in a few minutes to say, hey, this network of digital health experts is now probably the NODEX is even more relevant to API, for example, or DPA than the general expert network, which is covering also other non-pathology devices or non-digital devices. But I just wanted to say, how to become a member, click it.
And let me add one little piece, the Alliance or the PIcc collaborative community is supposed to be another resource like this network. And so I'm actually working on recognizing, or what would it take for PIcc to be one of these organizations as an entity itself. So that would then, make a direct line to this group. I don't know. There's a lot of legal definitions going on here that I'm trying to sift through, and the digital health team is pursuing this question for me on the collaborative community.
Awesome. Thank you for advocating on our behalf. Next topic is a proposal, and you will see Ulla pasted some more information. So you may know the New England Journal of Medicine. If you don't, you missed something really important. There's a subsection of that, which is called the New England Journal of Medicine Catalyst. It is a journal version of a virtual event and or magazine distribution network. It's kind of like the baby New England Journal, but it has a lot of leverage in terms of value-based care and care coordination pathways. And they contacted several people regarding a call to action, and they planned a theme issue on artificial intelligence. And part of what you see there is it's especially about care delivery. And a concrete proposal that was sort of solicited upon some of the members was, could we propose as PIcc a virtual data collection event? Not talking about, the big promises of AI. I think that has been kind of like done. What I believe is really critical, and Brandon and team in the Truthing group have kind of spearheaded the way and demonstrated that as, just before the pandemic in a data collection event in person. But proposing this is basically something that I wanted to discuss with the steering committee and here the larger group. And I also specifically looked to some of the other societies. I see some representation from API, from CAP, from DPA, and if I miss some other folks, it would be a virtual event to show what is actually needed to collect data with the ground truth. And don't know if some other folks want to comment, Brandon, for example, or it's just a suggestion. Obviously, this is not mandatory or anything, but it would be a great way to also sort of get the word out what we're trying to do and how important it is to regulate this for the safety and efficacy of AI tools.
I'll add that this was not my proposal specifically. I was actually proposing to do a little review panel where a few people stick their necks out and share a proposal or protocol for a truthing activity, and that the protocol be reviewed by some folks ahead of time so that when we do this event, the discussion can be one step advanced with the reviewers providing feedback and already communicating with those protocol folks to discuss the pros and cons of the protocol decisions or the elements of the protocol. This is something that Esther and I did many years ago, actually now, with the whole site imaging working group that we had organized a few events around. And but you know, data collection, I like that even better personally.
Thing is, we have a little bit of time to discuss this. We may make that a small project for people who are interested. We could say, you know, just submit your name if you want to help organize this. Obviously, there is also a way to feature institutions and participation. The more, the better. And I think there should be something tangible, not just sort of talks and, you know, fluff. But I think if there is actually a concrete approach on how to collect data or ground truth, I think that may be very informative to many. And I think that's what the NEGM Catalyst group is looking for. Other suggestions on this topic or idea? All right. Not, it's my absolute pleasure to hand this over to some of the work groups. And I have to say, the concept of the whole PICC seems to now get a lot of traction. I think high five to everyone. There has been a lot of activity in the various work groups. And I will hand it over to the payer strategies work group lead, I think Laura and Esther. Laura, do you want to briefly provide a quick update?
Yeah, happy to. So we had one of our bi-weekly calls yesterday in which we were able to invite representatives from the coding department or division of AMA and had a really good conversation with them. So we spent the hour sort of giving them some background and explaining what digital pathology is. They seemed very interested, asked lots of questions, as they had indicated that they really hadn't been approached by any groups about the concept of digital pathology prior to us reaching out. So we provided them with some background and discussed, you know, how to go about establishing potential CPT and different CPT code and different strategies. In the end, the suggestion that the AMA reps who were Jay Allman and Zach Holdstetter was to sort of potentially think about how radiology moved forward with establishing CPT codes as a potential framework for how we could do this in the digital pathology space. But then also that we really need to be reaching out to other expert groups in this field, like CAP, for example, and be working with them to develop a more comprehensive plan and strategy on how CPT codes should be structured, and then we can have more detailed discussions with AMA. Joe and Esther, please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, the only thing I can add, Laura, is that it was very promising. It was a very constructive, open dialogue, which I really enjoyed. And I think this is a great step in trying to at least move digital pathology field with regards to the budget issue that we all acknowledge as being a kind of a blocker for driving adoption. So this is the first step, really trying to overcome this hurdle. It's a small step in the big process, but I think it's the most important one, that we get this connection. So also thanks to Charles, who has made these connections. So it's fantastic to see that kind of collaborative community where you have all these different kind of players and people and entities joining, that you can make it work and you can make it happen. So I'm really positive and inspired by that meeting we had yesterday, or the day before yesterday. I can't recall.
I can only second that. Amazing progress. One of the key steps we thought that we would ultimately get. So questions to the payer strategy group? If not, we move straight forward. Stephen, do you want to provide a quick update?
Yeah, sure. So Joe and Matthew and I met last month to discuss what exactly our ML and AI model creation task force really should be doing that would provide the most benefit. And we came up with what we think are 2 deliverables that would mean a lot to a lot of different people. And those are to create a rubric tool and possibly a decision tree for helping people as they start to design experiments for validation, that we make sure that the key concerns we would have from the analytical standpoint get answered in the correct way. And so after that, Joe sent an email out to the teaching group to ask for a wish list of what are all the things you wish you could do. And we're actually going to use that as a series of use cases to help us walk through the problem, try and frame it, and make sure that the rubric and decision tree will meet at least those wish list type items. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Stephen. Perfect summary. I hand it over to the trainees group with that. Julia?
Sure. So yeah, Steve, I will comment on that. So we had our first actual task meeting as the trainee group, where we had our brainstorming session to create that list that Matt, Steve, and Joe asked us to create. So it was really kind of a mixture of dreams, hopes, something that might actually look boring, or has already been established, but just to give you an idea how it looked like, or what it is. So we came up with about 30 bullet points of really a mix of things in 3 categories that you see here. I just want to pick out 2 just to give you an idea. I don't want to go through the entire list. So one thing we came up with was, for example, when you're scoring the Gleason score in prostate cancer evaluation, as you get tired over time and your evaluation changes, if that could be optimized. And another thing was, for example, in heavily pretreated histological samples where you get a lot of irradiation atypia, how to differentiate benign from malignant or abnormal versus abnormal. So those are just to give you a rough idea what the list contains. And then we had our first actual speaker event in April 23rd with Laxman Ramurthy, and we had a very exciting session with him where we discussed his latest book chapter about FDA review path and how he's involved in novel pilot programs. And it was a really, really nice discussion afterwards. So we're thinking about having maybe a second session with him, because really 1 hour wasn't enough time. So those are our 2 updates.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So this was also at the same time the automatic proof that work groups can collaborate in a collaborative community. Sounds obvious, but it has to be proven. You know, we're doing science here. With that, Marcus Herman, update from the standards group.
Yes, thanks, Joe. We had a couple of things since we last met. So one thing that I know some of you have participated and maybe also listened in. We had a webinar on April 22nd involving several people that have been very active in our working group and other standardization efforts, such as the DICOM Working Group 26 and the IHE Palm Group. We've also made significant progress towards our primary goal, namely establishing a repository of standard data sets. So through DICOM Working Group 26, we are currently working with a variety of different vendors and sites to acquire additional scans of like whole slide images in DICOM format, which we're also leveraging as part of the hackathon event that is currently ongoing, and which we will present at the European Conference for Digital Pathology in mid-June.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for providing the update and pushing forward. Next work group is the truthing and validation group. I think, Brandon, you wanted to say a few words, correct?
Joe, sorry to interrupt, but before we continue, also with standardization is coding. So maybe Kingsley could give a quick update if that's if we have time.
Yes, I think we have that under projects, but absolutely it matches
okay.
it matches better here. Let's do this now. Kingsley.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. So for the coding group, we have not done much, limited by the board. I had to take the board exams, so just finished that. But after the board exams, yesterday we met with a diverse group of coding specialists from the CAP informatics group and the NCI group. And there was a lot of discussion about collaborating on data mapping using the CAP protocols. We're still in the discussion phase. Hopefully we'll get an idea to streamline all our efforts together and create a wonderful project that is end product that is good for regulatory purposes to FDA submission. I think one of the emphasis we in the PICC want to emphasize the fact that submission, we just need something simple that can be mapped easily for discussions with the FDA to see what it is like to make submissions for studies. So I would update in the next steering committee meeting. We'll have something concrete to show with our actions.
Thanks a lot, Kingsley. Maybe one addition here is that these data models that were discussed yesterday, right? The meeting was yesterday.
Yes.
We're spanning literally everything. It was extremely fascinating to see like a CAP synoptic report with HLA-7 FHIR implementation all the way, including some code review. It was quite impressive what you're trying to string together there. So high five and looking forward to the next update. Brandon?
Yeah, I want to just provide a little bit on the data standardization because we're sharing some of our slides and images with Marcus for the Connectathon or Hackathon that he is working on, including some of the data collection annotations that we've done so that he can put that in the DICOM format for us, and we can be moving towards our project having more standardization and interoperability tools like DICOM images with the annotations embedded within. Marcus, so that's coming. I haven't told you that. We shared the slides, but the annotations are coming.
Excellent. Second proof of the
Yes.
collaboration between the working groups.
And so pathology informatics was not too long ago, I guess 2 weeks now. We presented there, I presented there, started to get my hands dirty on the pilot data. And so there is the slides on my space that I have for my hub space. And I will share that with Ula, and a video of my presentation is coming. That way you haven't missed anything. Number 2 is right now the FDA Science Forum is happening, like you said, and Kate and I have a poster that's being presented, and we'll share that link as well. Kate is going to produce a video corresponding to that poster too, a little 3-minute walkthrough of the poster. Summer is coming. All of my summer interns I've got lined up, and one of them is my good friend Sarah Dudgeon, who used to be one of my project partners, and she's going to collect data on the microscope at Yale. The EDAP system, the microscope system, we'll ship it to her, and she's going to set it up at Yale. We're going to send her a second system to drive over to Stony Brook for data collection. So if anyone is in the area, they can participate in that data collection, and we'll try and get an advertising flyer about that to the whole collaborative community, so that if you're in the area, I could even imagine the systems moving if we had the promise of many pathologists. We're also starting to prepare our GitHub repository with pathologist evaluations for public sharing. I think this summer I have a joint statistical meetings at the end of summer where I want to be advertising this a repository with that data, perhaps even linked to the images, although that's a struggle with the agreements that we're working on. But this is a place to share and support development of analysis methods, not just me, but once I publish it, hopefully other people will develop methods, and we can then look at them and see what's good, because the idea is we'll be talking about pathologist to pathologist agreement as the baseline for algorithm to pathologist agreement in the validation approach. And we've already walked through the current repository with the HTT team, and so we're working out the bugs and documentation. 2 other little pieces, I'll be quick. We made it through our first round of the Burroughs Welcome Fund to support slide sourcing and data collection platform development. We'll be defending that in 2 weeks to the review team. And there's also a Google Summer of Code project where we are working with our Emory collaborators to integrate the microscope platform within a fully functioning whole slide imaging viewer. So rather than being MATLAB, which is not for showing whole slide images, in case you've ever tried. So that's my update. I will put this in a document and share it with Ula.
Oh, fantastic. That's some massive steps forward, and I just quickly checked the website. That looks fantastic. Great poster, Katie, Sarah, Brandon, amazing work. Are there questions about some other work groups, or we get to a few more projects in a little bit? I think the next item is Joe Sirentrappen on maybe a brief summary on the Pathology Informatics Summit that just happened, and it would be great to outline how that was. And
yeah. Do you mind if I share my screen real briefly?
Yes. Give me 1 second. I just have to find you. There you are.
And I just put the link in for everybody. There's some free content. It's always nice to have free. So yeah, actually, let's just go here. So that's the website that had put in the chat, and we had a good conference. It began on Wednesday of May 5th. We had some hiccups because of our vendor platform that hosted the event. Apparently Zoom went haywire that morning. So it wasn't actually their platform, it was just Zoom in general. So we had to do some makeshift work to make things happen. But as part of the free content, which is actually part of the plenary sessions, they're available for everyone. But thanks to Nova Smith, who coordinated everything, she's managed to sort of bootstrap everything back together. So, you know, this gives you the rundown of all the different tracks. We had about over 300 participants. You know, that gives all the different tracks in AI, lab, a whole bunch of different things. And we finalized things on Friday with some more AI sessions. So let me just, let's see if I can move this here. I was just gonna highlight some things. So this is just the free content. You can just go on the website and take a look. You can also see my little presidential address. We highlighted some of the work we did last year in terms of bringing down the Clio waiver. So I sort of gave the story about that. One of the highlights of the meeting is that we always give a Lifetime Achievement Award. And you can see the list of those, you know, very esteemed list here. But the one this year is Mark Boguski. And so I just wanted to highlight, if I'm able to show, this is on the LinkedIn page. It was very sad that he wasn't here to receive it, but we were fortunate enough to actually have his family there, his wife, and particularly his sister, who helped really coordinate everything and sort of help us bring his life story behind everything. But if everybody goes on LinkedIn, you can sort of look at that. And, you know, he won the Lifetime Achievement Award, and I think Mary Edgerton was able to give a very nice just rundown of everything he's done, and really brought some good memories to the talk. So I think everything's visible on the free content aspect of the of what I shared in the link. Another thing that I'll highlight too is that we also had poster sessions, and Mohammed happened to win the first place on a very, very nice poster on TILs in terms of using AI. I see, James, that you're on it. You were second place, so you also had a very nice poster as well. So I was really amazed by the quality of the posters this year. There was a lot of really good work, and basically everybody could have, we try to encourage everybody to submit to JPI, but I think everything could have easily made it in there. The quality was really amazing. So, with that said, I was, after everything was done and all the hiccups that we had, the session went very well. And, I'm basically glad it's done. I think next year we're going to have it physically, knock on wood. I think we have the site. It's supposed to be the largest convention center in Pittsburgh. It's supposed to be a very nice one. It probably hasn't been used yet. So hopefully with everything going well, we'll all meet there in Pittsburgh, and encourage everybody who can join to come. And we'll finally get to meet in person. And I think I also mentioned drinks might be on me for this first round, because I'm just dying to see everybody again. So anyway, I didn't know if anybody had any questions.
Oh, thanks a lot for pushing this forward. And I thought it was a great meeting. There were tons of amazing talks and speakers. So yeah, questions for Joe? Next item is project updates, and maybe Ulla, if you could jump 2 slides. I wanted to show a slide because I know a few of you are on here. Can you jump to the next one real quick before we get to the projects? And we were asked for the MDIC annual public forum to kind of outline what is the concept, like what does it look like? So if you value collaborations and you have a regulatory science project, you can just submit that to Ulla, practically speaking. It will be presented and or updated during the steering committee, and then PIcc, us, help by contributing. And ultimately, you will find basically folks that like this topic and help you. We do not focus on a competitive product development, and we do not actively influence the project. And I thought that I wanted to show this because the next 3 projects, and Ulla, if you can jump back, are examples of this. And we're still trying to convey this concept in the fastest way. So I think it's just sort of an idea to illustrate this. But without further ado, here's an update on some of the projects. First one is Kim. Do you want to give us a brief update?
Surely. May I share a slide?
Yep. Just have to make you the co-host here.
Thank you.
Great seeing you, by the way.
Can you see anything?
Coming up.
Okay. Awesome. So what I wanted to share just like really quick with you is that, one of the outputs of the project that we had was, or actually the first output of the project that we had is to really put together a TILS regulatory science manuscript. And I've met with several people from the group, which is actually really fantastic. That spans a lot of different disciplines. So the project members of the group right now are Keith Wharton from Ultiview, Joe, of course, Esther Abels, Amanda Lowe, and Hedda Markle. I'm actually looking for representatives from the pharmaceutical industry, as well as individuals who are represent the patient advocates perspective. And the whole purpose of this manuscript is to really delineate what a Q-sub should entail. And so the big questions are, what are the points that the FDA would consider for TILs as a qualified biomarker? And we basically had, without going to any detail, 7 big sections for this that we've discussed and put in some ideas for. So those 7 sections are, what are the current, literally talking about the current resource uses, technical considerations, landscape for performance testing, considerations for controls, harmonization, which is huge, considerations for best practices. What are the risk benefits for actually doing something like this? What is this, how does this benefit our patients? How does this benefit society in general when we sort of try to put these things in perspective? And then finally, what is the relevance of this beyond the US? So, and we're thinking about this in terms of, the impact this will have, having such, a model and a use case for low to middle income countries that may not have the resources to buy expensive equipment or things like that for any type of their standard pathology analysis. And so we're actually done a really great job of getting all these perspectives together from different stakeholders, so to speak. And I would love to, if anyone would like to join, please feel free. As I said, I'm really looking for pharmaceutical perspectives and anyone who's in the patient advocacy group. So thank you.
Perfect. A very, very impressive project, submitting a tissue-based biomarker as a biomarker for, just exploring that concept is absolutely cutting edge. I know Roberto Salgado and the TILS work group is also very interested in that. Thanks, Kim, for providing the update. Peter Bohr is joining us from the middle of the night in Germany about his project. Peter, are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm still there.
Oh, he's still at work.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
long day today.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think I already presented our idea last time. So we are working on a project to build up a national research data infrastructure in Germany that would cover the digital pathology and pathology in general, mainly focusing on verification of the data. So making all the data according to FAIR principles, findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. And it would be great if we could kind of engage in a collaboration if we get funded. So I ask Joe to potentially provide us with a letter of support, which would help us with the application, so that we would align also our initiative with international initiatives like this one. So I think I don't want to present it again. I showed it last time. What's the idea? We are working on a decentralized infrastructure, and the main focus will be on data quality harmonization, and again developing tools that will allow the verification of the data. So that are some of the main goals. And we put our one very challenging goal we want to develop it in a way that everyone will want to use it and not have to use it, which I don't know if we will manage that, but at least that's a challenging goal for us.
Mhm.
So I would be very happy if we could kind of agree on a letter of intent or support. Just for the timeline, we will submit the main application end of September. So until then, we would need the letter of support. And then there is a quite a long process, funding. So the process in Germany is typical. It takes till mid of 2022, so 9 or 10 months. And then we will know if we will get funded. So a potential collaboration will start if we get funded in mid of 2022. So I'm asking upfront, but this is unfortunately the timeline we're dealing with.
It's very fast in comparison to adoption of digital pathology. So I think we can we can definitely do it. Marcus, you had a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think this is a really important initiative. I mean, Peter, we worked together a year ago at the beginning of the pandemic, I would say, trying to establish this internationally. And it ultimately, I think, also fell short because a lot of these things weren't even there at the national level, like agreements for sharing data, infrastructure, and so forth. So I think this is a really important initiative that you are trying to move forward in Germany.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Actually, the COVID really helped us in this manner in Germany. We were able to establish the COVID-19 autopsy registry in Germany, which now celebrated 1 year and few weeks. And it really works. We have nearly 40 centers who support us and put in the data. And this was also the catalyst for trying to do this national research infrastructure in digital pathology as well, because we build up this network and really this was amazing. There was actually no one who would be critical, no one who would argue against this, and this really helped us within the whole Germany to really build this up. So this really motivated me to try to go for this much more challenging development of the national infrastructure, which is of course another level of complexity and challenge. And I'm also very happy that we now have been contacted by some international, some other states that they want to contribute to the registry. So I was hoping that this will not happen, because then we have to rename us from national to international, but it's probably possible with small I, like iPhone, so that will be I something. Yeah, so this is our idea, and I would be really happy to collaborate, because we don't only want to do it for research, but we want to go one step ahead and try to develop tools that would allow, or at least facilitate, also IVD development. So to do it in a way that we don't have to do everything twice. So first publish a paper and then do it again, because all the standards for data were not allowed. So these are our intentions, and that's certainly in many cases very well aligned with what you're doing in this initiative. And
Peter,
yeah.
how many COVID individuals in terms of autopsies have you registered in your autopsy registry? Just roughly?
I don't know. We are now preparing another proposal, so everyone now is finally motivated to put them. But I think we have several hundreds. I think 600 or so, and
Wow.
still people are including them.
It's
But it's really funny, because we now did a short analysis of the causes of death, and I think this one slide really beautifully shows that we definitely need harmonization in pathology, because 90% died of COVID pneumonia, but the causes of that are, yeah. So I think that's a very nice example of what we will need in terms of harmonization and so on.
So quick note to the industry representatives or stakeholders. So obviously Peter works under GDPR frameworks, right? That's different from the US, but that's a huge issue of aligning that. So I think that's definitely value add for collaboration with that. So definitely fully aligned with what we're doing. And I think we can probably support this. I don't know. Any objections from anyone? I mean, Peter's pushing the boundary quite a bit, so.
I mean, I can also, you can also discuss when I'm not in, whether you want to
No.
support it or not, that's okay.
No. I think this is fully aligned. Thank you very much for outlining this. Next one is Esther, reimbursement.
Yeah, actually, I don't know what to add to what we were just discussing. Laura gave a great update. So yeah, we're just progressing, I think, very well with the project on reimbursements. And next steps will be to further reach out to the experts at the AMA and kind of start thinking about that kind of a think tank. Yeah.
Perfect. I think we have one next item, which is a Friends of Cancer Research update. And I think this is sad and happy at the same time. Laura, do you want to briefly explain?
Sure. So I am leaving my position at Friends of Cancer Research and will be starting at Pharma next week, working on market access for cell and gene therapies. I'm going to be remaining an active member of the PIcc and particularly the working group, but will be doing that as a representative of Pharma now. In my place as the patient advocate is a new member of Friends of Cancer Research, Brittany McKelvey. And Brittany, do you want to introduce yourself or?
Sure, I can. That's fine. Hello, everyone. As Laura said, I'm Brittany McKelvey. I started at Friends about 2.5 weeks ago, so I'm still fairly new, but I'm there as a science policy analyst, and I'm really excited to be a part of PIcc. My background is in cancer biology. I got my PhD at Hopkins, and I'm also a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed when I was 13, so I'm really excited to kind of wear both hats and to represent Friends in this space and to work with all of you actively.
Oh,
and a big thank you to you, Brittany, for agreeing to take over this really important role for me.
Yeah, congrats, Laura, for negotiating on all of our behalf to take on or to continue to, you know, help us with all the expertise. And Brittany, super amazing to have you. It's amazing to continue have obviously patient advocacy and support from the Friends of Cancer Research. That's really great. I think there's a few more updates. So I wanted to show, if you're not familiar, if you go to Digital Pathology alliance.org or pathologyinnovationcc.org, both map to the same URL. And on that website, you will find resources as well as publications. And there were 3 that I think are worth mentioning. One was by Giovanni Lujan. It's basically the Ohio State experience of scanning for multiple years in clinical routine, which is a fantastic paper. I think it's still sort of in the accepted manuscript stage. It's not typeset, but it's available. The second one is Liu et al., which is from the group of Faisal Mahmood over at Brigham Dana-Farber, which is an AI-based pathology prediction tool for cancers of unknown primary. If you haven't seen that, it's an incredible talent and accomplishment to get a paper like that into Nature. I don't know if you've ever seen some of the fights that are ongoing to get in such a top-notch journal. So that is absolutely phenomenal. And then the third one is Evans et al., a validation of whole slide imaging systems for diagnostic purposes. It's another paper outlining for those who are planning to do this, kind of what the effort is and how they approached it. So Ulla has put the links in there. If you haven't seen that, that would be great if you can take a look. Those are definitely sort of, I don't know, there were 6 or 7 others that we don't want to feature here. You can find those on the website, but I thought those 3 would be sort of must reads if you're in this field. If you haven't seen those, please take a look. Same thing is here on shown right now. This is happening today and tomorrow, the FDA Science Forum. If you haven't seen it, just go there. I think there's also a link on the website. Very interesting event, top-notch speakers, as you can see here. There's the link. And I don't know, Brandon, were you guys participating in this, or do you want to say anything about that? Katie sent a heart. I think that says it all.
Yeah, I shared it. I shared our poster in the chat, and it really is an interesting session if everybody checks out the whole schedule for today and tomorrow.
And it's live streaming on YouTube, right?
Yes, it's recorded and live streamed and all of the virtual ways.
I think that's cool. You know, who would have said that the FDA streams live on YouTube 2 years ago? In any case, so next thing is that there's a few additional updates. One is the annual meeting, the Pathology Visions meeting. I think you've seen probably the date. And one question to the group is whether we should have an annual meeting near Visions, possibly even at Visions if people are going there, because I think that's a meeting in person. Is that correct, Esther? Do you know? Sure if she's still on, but
yeah, I was still on mute. Yes, we're planning to make it in person, and we're also looking into possibilities whether there's still some need to have it virtual, because we believe that not everybody is comfortable or is able or allowed even to travel. So it's probably both. That's the idea, but of course we need to get full confirmation.
Yeah, so you see the dates here, October 17th through 19th. So generally speaking, in the past, we had sort of a half day or so event with PIcc to kind of coordinate another annual meeting. I think we still have some time regarding deciding whether we want to do this or not, or whether we want to partner with DPA or some of the other meetings there. So I just wanted to throw this out there as a suggestion. Maybe we can discuss that about a date and just think about it until next month. And then there's one thing that sort of ends the meeting today, which is great news. You see that there's an updated screenshot of the landing page, which you may now see that there's the FDA logo is on there finally. Yay. It was a lot of like legal and emailing troubles, and it finally worked. And it's, you know, the wording is now with FDA participation, which is the official wording. And that's now live. You know, took a while, but we got there. Thanks a lot for support from Michelle Tarver and everyone who was involved, and Brandon, of course, and Kate and Sarah and everyone. So I think we got there. If you want your symbol on the landing page, please email Ulla. And with that, I think we're at the end of the top of the hour. Thank you very much. I hope this was informative, and